Okay, so how do you use AI within your video creation process without losing your voice? Okay, and being able to maintain and even strengthen your sense of agency and yes, this is me, this is what I want to say. Okay, because it's very easy to use AI for ideas and scripting and all this kind of stuff, and it's great for that, right? But the challenge is the more we hand over, the less it kind of is us potentially, okay? And when, being on camera often feels so unnatural and not like us as it is, then when it's not your words, that just heightens that, okay? So this is how I use AI to help me with my videos, right? And it's rather than saying create for me, I ask it to critique, feedback, and kind of add what resonates, okay? Because the big thing about any form of communication, public speaking, video, all this kind of stuff, we've got what we want to say, and that takes some time to kind of work out. But even when we get that right, the question is still, okay, what are people going to hear? Because you may say A, B, C, but they don't hear A, B, C. They hear A, B, D, or C, B, A. Or sometimes you get people where it's like A, B, Z. And you're like, how on earth have they got that? But that's the reality, right, of communication. I say something, someone else hears something, okay? And so what the real trick of public speaking is and video is to start to understand, right, what do other people hear, okay? And is it what I want them to hear? So how I use AI to help with that is essentially I'll load something in. Maybe I've filmed a video and I'll take the transcript, or I've written a script and I'll put it in, or just ideas, bullet points. And I'll say, right, imagine you are a so-and-so year old person who works in this industry. You've got a fear of this, but you love that. What would you understand, or what would you take away from what I've said, right, in this video? And it will then say, okay, well, it would summarize what it thinks I've kind of got across. It might say, oh, okay, I might be a bit unsure about this. Okay. So what you're doing is then understanding what a potential audience might hear. And then you have the agency. It's not saying, oh, I would, it might say, oh, I didn't quite understand this bit, right? But it's not saying this is what I would say. You want it just to say, this is what I don't understand. And then you have the agency to adapt accordingly. And it might be that it says, oh, I would think this. And you're like, oh, well, that's a load of rubbish. I don't agree with that. Or my audience don't really think that. Or, some of them do, but they're not the ones I'm targeting. Great. You've got ownership, right? Whereas if you ask it, right, what should I change, or to rewrite it for you, it's rewriting it based on its assumptions of an alternative. But that might not be what you're trying to achieve, okay? And actually, sometimes I love it when I really disagree and it says, oh, I think this, and I'm like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about, because it strengthens my understanding of what I want to say. And my audience, it might say, oh, I didn't understand this, and I'm going to myself, yeah, of course, yeah, that audience wouldn't. And actually, it doesn't bother me, and I don't care what they think, because that's not who I'm looking to target, okay? And there, like I said, that's a strengthening of agency, because, and this is the whole point of brand and strategy, is to be differentiated. You're not trying to please everyone in your videos. You're trying to please a very specific audience or person in a certain way. So it can start to understand that, okay? And so you've done it with one person. You might say, okay, great. Well, what would this audience feel? Okay, and ask it, what do you understand versus what should I do, right? That will find your voice rather than outsourcing your voice to AI, which is creating results based on assumptions that it hasn't necessarily told you, okay? So keep the assumptions in you, ask it questions about what it thinks rather than asking it to do the work for you. Hope that helps. Let me know how you get on, and any particular questions that you find are useful for it, check them in the comments. It may be that others can use them as well. See ya.